Hi, this is Royce with Viking Wax Press and the Alternative Football Network. As you may know, I covered the Memphis Showboats of the United Football League this spring. That's the spring of 2025 for all of you watching in the future. During the season, I produced digital team leader cards of Showboats players each week, like these: Kwame Lassiter, Boogie Roberts, Matt Coughlin, to put up on my social media accounts. Since I had the basic design down and had compiled stats for all of the UFL players during the season, I figured it was the perfect time to tackle an item that has been on my bucket list since I was about 10, when my brother Aaron and I would make our own football cards for players that Topps didn't include in the set. Since then, I've always wanted to create my own custom set of football cards. I'll show you a few examples of the ones we created. This was before the internet. Our tools were paper, pens, scissors, magazine clippings, stickers, and stencils. At first, we grabbed some of the promo material put out by missionaries from church, thanks and sorry Dick and Rita Owen, and used the blank backs to make placeholders for guys we didn't have cards of, like this Keith Byers. We graduated to cutting player pics from sports section of newspapers or sports magazines like Sports Illustrated, Athlons, or Street and Smiths. The mixed media upped our game to cards like this Bill Johnson, and we even started adding our fictitious company name to the back. This Robert Pennywell is another good example. When the USFL's Breakers came to our hometown of Portland, we made cards of every guy on the roster, including our favorite breaker, Buford Jordan. As we practiced our craft, we got better and better, from Toussaint Tyler to Robin Cole to DJ Dozier. Can you see the progression? Eventually, I started taking graphic arts classes in college and created some designs I still enjoy, like this Tony Woods and Mike Jones. Today I'm excited to tell you I moved into the digital age and finally produced my very own custom set of football cards. This one is for the UFL 2025 season. As a gift to anyone willing to print their own or pay to have them printed, I am making the template of this set available to you for free. All I ask is that you subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow me on X and Facebook if you have accounts. Let me tell you about this custom UFL set, and then I will show you some of my favorites and some other notable cards in the set. The link toward the end of this video goes to a PDF of the template where you will see pages like this. These pages are made to print on 8.5 by 11 cardstock with cut lines pre-marked. There are 44 pages total, 9 cards per page. Each individual card is the customary trading card size of 3.5 by 2.5 inches. To keep costs down, this set is single-sided with stats on the front. There are 377 cards in the base set, plus the initial 12 cards from what will be a growing subset of UFL to NFL cards. I've also provided an extra Deion Kane card since it's my personal favorite in the set. I just love the image, which is actually from the very first UFL game in 2024. It reminds me of when David Letterman would put on a Velcro suit and use a springboard to launch himself onto a Velcro wall. Only Deion didn't need a springboard. It's such an iconic moment in UFL history, I had to include it in the set, even though it doesn't quite match the knocked-out format of the other cards. Let me show you a few cards from each team, starting with the Memphis Showboats. This first card I want to show off is my favorite player in the UFL, Boogie Roberts. I love his personality, his openness about being a man of God, and his passion for being a good father. These characteristics are very important to me, plus I love the way he plays the game of football. Also, don't be surprised when you see him up in the booth as an announcer after he hangs up his cleats. Boogie exudes charisma. Next up is Josiah Bronson. I love this card because it shows him diving and intercepting a deflected pass. Mind you, this dude weighs over 300 pounds. Whenever I could, I tried to include unusual action shots in this set. Next up is the most underrated player in the UFL, Showboats kicker Matt Coughlin. For the past 3 seasons, he has kicked at or above 90% field goal rate, including a long of 57 in 2024. I call him Mr. Consistent, and he should be given an opportunity to make an NFL squad this year. The last Showboat call-out is for this Isaiah Henney card. For some unknown reason, the official stats don't include the play where Isaiah returned a missed field goal attempt 108 yards for a touchdown, so I included those numbers in his stats, because it was one of the best plays of the season. He deserves to have those numbers recorded for posterity. Moving on to the San Antonio Brahmas next, many NFL fans will recognize Kellen Mond, a third-round draft pick by the Minnesota Vikings in 2021, who had a great college career at Texas A&M. He is doing what I think NFL bubble guys should all do, polish his game in the UFL. Kellen had a rough start this season, but slowly improved his game throughout the season. The team itself had as many ups and downs as Kellen did, maybe even more, but if he's smart, he will return for another UFL season to keep improving his timing and decision-making. Buffalo Bill fans may recognize the name Prince Emili, who spent some time on the Bills a couple years ago. I love this shot of him too. Hunter Brad Wing is another player who consistently puts up stellar numbers, averaging 48 yards per boot this season, including a whopper that soared for 69. He made the All-UFL team and should be a lock to make an NFL team this fall. When you talk about the Arlington Arlington Renegades, you must include quarterback Luis Perez, aka the Spring King. Over the past 6 seasons, spanning 6 different iterations of spring football leagues, Luis has gone from former Pro Bowler to the most prolific spring quarterback since Bobby Hebert and Jim Kelly. While some say he is pushing the boundaries age-wise for a quarterback, I believe Luis can play in the UFL as long as he wants to. Just look at how long Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers lasted, and they played more games per season. Luis has taken far fewer hits and is smart with getting rid of the ball. He's got plenty of time left if you ask me. Long live the King. Not only is Joe Powell one of my favorite UFL players, but I like how this picture shows one of the UFL's cool innovations, a camera built into the breastplate of the shoulder pads to give viewers a first-person perspective. The NFL has already adopted several UFL innovations, and I love knowing about them well before most NFL fans do. Marquette King started his pro career when he was signed by the Oakland Raiders in 2012, 13 years ago. Marquette led the NFL in 3 different punt categories in 2013 and 2014, breaking some of Ray Guy's franchise records along the way. The dude is still booting the ball at almost 48 yards a clip and, like Brad Wing, who we saw earlier, also hit a booming 69-yarder this season. Kicker and punter skills translate well to the NFL, so I see no reason why Marquette should not be on an NFL roster in 2025. The Houston Roughnecks started out the season 0-2 and the laughingstock of the UFL until Jaden McClendon came in for an injured Nolan Henderson and completely turned the team's season around. I have been vocal over the past 3 seasons about giving this guy a shot as a starter, and he proved me right and then some. His cannon arm and winning ways will garner looks from more than one NFL GM. No one caught more passes this season than Justin Hall. He had 18 more than anyone else. After a successful 2024 season with the Roughnecks, Justin spent last NFL preseason on the Minnesota Vikings and was a final cut on a deep Vikings receiver room. If he doesn't make it onto an NFL team this fall, he will be back in the UFL leading the league in receptions again in 2026. Leon O'Neal Jr. is my pick for the UFL player with the biggest upside. He came into the league this season and dominated, earning all UFL honors as well as being the Roughnecks nominee for Sportsman of the Year. I love football players with high moral character. After all, thousands of young kids look up to and try to emulate star players. Leon is one truly worth emulating. The Michigan Panthers finally knocked the Birmingham Stallions off their perch atop the UFL this season, and quarterback Bryce Perkins had a lot to do with that. He was named the UFL MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, and QB for the All-UFL team. The former LA Ram has essentially paved his way back for another chance at the NFL, and I believe he'd make a very capable second-string QB in that league. I included this Jordan Ober card for a couple reasons. For one, the unique angle of the image is just awesome. Secondly, part of the reason I wanted to make my own set is that the national card companies tend to include only the top stars and neglect about 2/3 of the league's players. I included about 90% of the players in this custom set. Long snappers are people too. I also included a coach card for each team. Some of you may remember Coach Mike Nolan from back when he was the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers from 2005 to 2008. The DC Defenders won the UFL championship game this season behind the arm of this guy, Jordan Teamu. He put up more numbers than MVP Perkins and, in the end, got revenge for not being named the UFL MVP. He certainly earned the championship game MVP honors when the Defenders crushed the Panthers 58-34 in the championship. Chris Rowland was also a big part of the Defenders trophy run, putting up great numbers as both wide receiver and return specialist. He led the UFL with 1,070 all-purpose yards. Kick and punt returners are another often overlooked position group when it comes to card sets, so I included at least one returner for each team. I wanted to show this card of Coach of the Year Shannon Harris since he was only the interim coach for the Defenders, taking over the week before the season kicked off when former coach Reggie Barlow announced that he was taking over as the head coach of Tennessee State. Shannon did a great job at perpetuating the us-against-the-world mentality Coach Barlow taught, making the Defenders extremely dangerous in the playoff and championship game where they were underdogs. Especially when you compare the Defenders to the record of other teams who lost their coach during the season, Coach Harris clearly earned Coach of the Year award honors and should be a shoo-in to coach the Defenders again in 2026 if he decides not to follow his old boss to Tennessee State. For the Birmingham Stallions, a team who had won 3 consecutive championship games, this season was riddled with QB injuries, so I made cards of all 5 QBs who played for them this year. The crazy thing, 4 out of 5 of these guys would start on the majority of teams in the UFL. UFL. That depth at QB allowed the Stallions to not only stay afloat, but ended up winning 7 out of 10 games to make it to the playoffs, where they were ousted by the aforementioned Michigan Panthers. Jace Sternberger didn't care who was throwing, he was catching. His 14 yards per catch are very high for a tight end, and Jace is one of the best in the league at gaining yards after the catch. He's been in NFL camps before and should be again in the near future. The Stallions have a bounty of good pass catchers, as I already showed you Deion Kane and Jace Sternberger, but I wanted to share this card of Cade Johnson because, yes, he's a great receiver, but mostly because I wanted to give you an example of how I tried to tinker with shape and perspective when the photo allowed. I thought this one would be a cool way to show the angle of a deep pass dropping out of the sky into the receiver's outstretched arm. The St. Louis Battlehawks had the best record in the UFL in 2025, so I'll use them to show their game record card. I made one for each team. They show each regular season game date, opponent, and score. Battlehawk Pitatama Pinu won the UFL's Defensive Player of the Year award. It was his second DPOY award in 3 years, having won it in 2023 when he played for the Vegas Vipers. Pitta was the leader of the deepest linebacking crew in the UFL. Another kicker already getting calls from the NFL is Rodrigo Blankenship, who had years of success in the NFL prior to this, and then utilized the 2025 UFL season as a path to return. 21 of 22 field goals with a long of 56 should do the trick. I love this Nate Metters card. One can almost sense the kinetic energy being siphoned from the ether in this great juxtaposition of skilled craftsman meditating in peace mere moments before he would launch his very body as a violent projectile with intent to halt, to bruise. The wind whispers, "Go forth, Sir Nate, and don the armor of the Battlehawk." That's a quick preview from each team, but as I mentioned earlier, I've also included the initial subset of the UFL to NFL cards. Here are a couple examples. The Browns signed Sal Cannella almost as soon as the UFL season ended. It was a rare smart move by the Browns, as Sal led the UFL tight ends in receptions with 44. He's been a top 2 springtime tight end for 3 years in a row. The Jets inked Harrison Mevis, who has trademarked himself as the thicker kicker. The Stallions will miss his accuracy in 2026. Dresser Wynn signed with the LA Rams a couple hours after I posted my set, so this UFL to NFL card isn't included, but that leads me to this. If you want to have this card or any subsequent card of UFL players signing to NFL teams, all you need to do is follow my profile, Viking Wax Press, on X and or Facebook, and collect or print them when I post updates. You can also find more of my articles and videos on AlternativeFootballNetwork.com. I'd love to hear from you on what you think about this pro bono project. Which cards are you looking forward to most? Do you want a specific player, a specific team, or are you a completionist like me and want to print the entire set along with the updates as they happen? Let me know in the comments. A quick note on upcoming projects. I'm working on another helmet ranking video. This one will be current helmets of the Indoor Football League. Also, don't forget to tune in to the World of Football YouTube channel on July 1st for their 400th broadcast celebration, where I will be one of their guest hosts. Also, I'm working on a project with the crew of the Alternative Football Network, so keep an eye out for that, potentially sometime in July. As always, thanks for watching. This is Royce with Viking Wax Press and the Alternative Football Network. God is good, y'all. Take care.